I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mark, and I've been married to Lisa for about 8 years now. We met in college, built a life together, and honestly, I thought we had something solid. She's always been a bit of a bitch, super bitchy, honestly, but I figured that was just her personality. Still, I loved her and she seemed to love me back. Or at least, that's what I thought. Things started feeling off a few months ago. Small things at first. She'd be more secretive about her phone, hiding her messages, and when I'd ask her about plans, she'd get defensive or change the subject. I brushed it off, telling myself maybe she was just stressed or busy. But then the little signs kept piling up. One night I was doing some work in my office, nothing unusual, just some emails and stuff, and I noticed a weird message notification pop up on her phone. I didn't think much of it at first, but I saw the name Jake in the message thread. That's the name of my former teammate from my days in the sports world. We played together professionally for a few years, and honestly, I didn't touch base with him much anymore. But the thing is, Lisa and Jake had been in contact more often than they should have. I'd seen her laughing at texts, her phone always nearby, more than usual. I decided to dig a little. I got into her phone when she was in the shower one day, caught her with her password unlocked, which should have been a red flag on its own. I scrolled through her messages, and what I found made my stomach turn. There were texts that didn't just sound friendly, they were flirtatious, suggestive, outright cheating. She was talking about meeting him in hotel fitness centers during his business trips to our city. Of course, she lied when I confronted her about it. Said he was just an old friend, just catching up, nothing more. But I knew better. The way she responded, defensive, sneering, dismissive, told me everything I needed to know. The worst part. I found pictures, screenshots, really, of her and Jake in hotel gyms, sweaty and close, with no regard to the world around them. She'd even signed memorabilia for him that I recognized from my old sports days, but the signatures were just autographs. They had a hidden cost. She'd been using those things as tokens, little gifts, bribes of sorts, secret passwords to her betrayal. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My wife, the woman I trusted, was sleeping with my former teammate, hiding it all behind a mask of innocence. I'd never felt so stupid, so betrayed in my entire life. After I found all that, I didn't sleep for nights. I kept thinking about how she could lie to my face, how she could look me in the eyes and pretend everything was fine. I mean, she's always been a bitch about little things, but this was a whole new level of manipulation. It wasn't just some fling. She was actively sneaking around, lying about where she was and lying about who she was with. The worst part, she made me feel like I was overreacting, like I was paranoid or imagining things. Typical Lisa, always twisting the truth, always turning it on me. One night I decided I'd had enough. I waited until she was asleep. Her breathing was shallow, her face peaceful, but I knew better. I sat in our living room, clutching her phone, trying to process how I got here, how I let it get this far. I knew I needed to confront her, but I didn't want to do it right away. I wanted her to think I didn't know. I wanted to see her squirm, to see her try to deny everything. I started drafting what I'd say, how I'd pin her down on her lies. Then I started planning my next move. I couldn't just come out swinging without a plan. I knew her personality. She's confrontational, sharp-tongued, always ready with a bitchy comeback. If I just yelled at her now, I'd get nothing but a bunch of lies and defensive bullshit. So I decided I'd catch her in the act. I set up hidden cameras around the house, especially in the bedroom and her phone charging station. I wanted proof, real, undeniable proof, before I made my move. It didn't take long. The next day, I checked the recordings from the night before, and there she was. Lying in bed, texting Jake again, telling him she was free tonight, and that she missed him, which was a punch straight to the gut. She even mentioned meeting him in a hotel gym later that week. Seeing that footage made everything real. This wasn't just some guilty pleasure she'd hide. This was a full-blown affair, and I was just discovering how deep it went. I felt rage boiling up inside me. I trusted her with everything, my life, my career, my heart. And she'd been using me, using our marriage, as cover for her cheating. I couldn't believe I ever thought I knew her. I'd always known she was bitchy, hard to deal with, but I never thought she'd cheat. Never thought she'd betray me like this. It felt like my entire world was crumbling, and I couldn't stop thinking about the betrayal, about all those signs I missed, all those little lies she told to cover her tracks. The day I finally confronted her, I felt like I was walking into a storm I couldn't control. I had the evidence, video recordings, the messages, the signed memorabilia that she used as her secret tokens of affection, and I knew she'd spin some kind of bullshit. Still, I had to say something. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. I called her into the living room and told her I needed to talk. She looked annoyed, like I was bothering her. Typical Lisa, always bitchy, always with the attitude. I laid out everything I'd found, every message, every sneaky photo, the signed memorabilia. Her face twisted into a sneer, like she was annoyed I had the nerve to accuse her of anything. Then she started her usual lies. "You're overreacting," she said. "You're just jealous because I'm successful and charming and these things happen." That was her go-to. Whenever she got caught, she'd spin it into some kind of victimization. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her I knew about Jake, about the hotel gyms, about her lying to my face for months. She rolled her eyes, scoffed, and then started calling me paranoid. "You're just insecure," she snapped. "You think every guy who talks to me is after me. You're insecure, Mark. Honestly, you're lucky I even put up with your jealous bullshit." That was a slap in the face. I've always been the kind of guy who tried to keep the peace, who avoided confrontations, but this was different. I told her I'd had enough, that I was done pretending she was innocent. She looked at me like I was crazy, like I was the one who lost her mind. She said I was making a big deal out of nothing, that I was imagining things, that I didn't trust her because I was insecure. She kept insisting she loved me, but her words fell flat. I could see the contempt in her eyes. I felt a weird mix of anger, sadness, and betrayal. For a while, I just sat there, staring at her, trying to process how someone I loved could do this to me. How she could lie so effortlessly, cheat so blatantly, and then turn around and blame me for being insecure. It was like I was talking to a stranger, someone I didn't even recognize. I kept asking myself, how did we get here? When did she stop loving me? Or did she ever truly love me at all? After she left the room, I just sat there numb. I knew this was the start of something new. I wasn't going to let her get away with it. I had all the proof I needed, and I'd decide what to do next. But inside, I felt like I was dying a little. The woman I'd loved, the woman I married, was gone, replaced by this cold, lying, manipulative person who'd betrayed me in ways I never thought possible. I was hurt, yeah, but I also felt something that burned even hotter: anger. I'd been played for a fool, and I wasn't going to let her win. After that confrontation, everything changed. I couldn't look at Lisa the same way. The woman I'd trusted, the woman I'd built my life with, was now just a stranger in my house, somebody I couldn't recognize. I wanted to believe she'd try to deny everything, that she'd get defensive or cry or whatever. But she didn't. Instead, she doubled down on her attitude, calling me insecure, crazy, paranoid. That bitchy edge was sharper than ever, and she threw in a few insults about how I was overreacting, jealous, and possessive, to try to make me doubt myself. What really broke me was how dismissive she was. She didn't even try to deny the affair outright, at least not in those words. She just kept insisting that I was overreacting, that I was seeing things, that Jake was just a friend, and that I was blowing everything out of proportion. She sat there with that smug look, trying to spin it into some sort of poor me victim act. Honestly, I felt like I was losing my mind. How could she be so callous? How could she lie so blatantly and then act like I was the one at fault? In the days that followed, I started feeling everything at once: anger, sadness, disgust. I'd catch myself staring at her when she wasn't looking, trying to see the woman I'd loved for so long. But I couldn't. She was a stranger now, and I felt like I'd been punched in the gut every time I remembered her sneaking around behind my back, laughing with Jake in hotel gyms, signing memorabilia that I once thought was just a gift, a token of appreciation from a former teammate. Now I knew it was just another part of her game, another lie to cover her tracks. I also found myself questioning everything. Was I just blind? Did I miss all the signs? How many times had she lied to me before I even found out? I started keeping track of her whereabouts, trying to catch her in another lie. It was obsessive, but I could help it. My mind kept racing, trying to connect all the dots, trying to understand how I'd been so stupid. The more I discovered, the more I felt like I was unraveling. I thought about the moments we'd shared, the trips, the dates, her smile, how all of it now felt like some cruel illusion. And then came the question, what do I do now? Do I stay and try to fix this? Do I confront her again? Or do I just walk away? I knew I had to make a choice soon, but I felt frozen, caught between the heartbreak of betrayal and the anger I needed to get rid of. Every time she looked at me with that bitchy smirk, I felt like my blood was boiling. I wanted to yell at her, scream at her, rip that smug look off her face. But I also felt the crushing weight of disappointment, realizing she didn't love me at all. She was just using me, just another mark in her game, and I was stupid enough to think she was worth fighting for. I kept asking myself, how much more of this can I take before I crack completely? The decision did come easily, but one night I finally realized I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. The betrayal was too deep, the lies too many. I'd spent days trying to piece together what was real and what was just her bullshit. I knew I had to act. I couldn't let her keep gaslighting me, keep making me doubt my own mind. So I sat her down again, this time with a feeling of cold resolve. I laid everything out, proof, recordings, the signed memorabilia, every lie she told me, hoping she'd finally crack, but she didn't. Instead, she sneered, called me crazy, said I was controlling and possessive, the same tired excuses. She told me I was overreacting, that I was making a mountain out of a molehill. But I wasn't going to be fooled anymore. I told her she needed to leave, that I couldn't do this anymore, that I wouldn't be her fool. That's when the real shit hit the fan. She started yelling, calling me all sorts of names, controlling, insecure, jealous, trying to turn the tables and make me feel guilty. She said I was the one who was cheating on her with my jealousy, that I was insecure about my past sports days, that I was just jealous of Jake's success. I couldn't believe her. It was classic Lisa, blame-shifting, lying, manipulating. She had this bitchy smirk on her face the entire time, like she was already planning her next move. I stayed firm, told her if she didn't leave, I'd call the cops. I didn't want her in my house anymore. I felt numb, exhausted, like I'd been running a marathon and I was finally done. When she finally packed her bags and left, I watched her go with a mix of relief and heartbreak. I kept thinking how I'd trusted her, how I'd loved her, and how she'd just thrown it all away for some secret affair. In the days that followed, I felt a strange sense of relief mixed with emptiness. It was like I was finally free from her lies, but at the same time, I was mourning the woman I once knew. I took down her pictures, packed away the memorabilia, and started focusing on myself. I realized I'd let her manipulate me for too long, and that I'd been blind to how much she didn't care about our marriage or my feelings. I started seeing the whole situation clearly, and honestly, I felt a little stronger. Now I'm just taking it day by day. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know I won't let her ruin me anymore. I learned that sometimes love isn't enough, and that trust, once broken, takes a long time to rebuild if it can be rebuilt at all. The hardest part is forgiving myself for trusting her so blindly. But I'll move on. I have to. It's the only way I can start healing from this betrayal. Looking back now, I realize how much this whole experience has changed me. I used to be the guy who believed in loyalty, in sticking it out through thick and thin. But betrayal like that, especially on this scale, makes you question everything. I've learned that sometimes love isn't enough to fix a broken trust, and that some betrayals cut so deep, they leave scars you carry forever. I've also learned that bullies and manipulators like Lisa don't change. She's still the same bitchy, sneering person she always was. But I refuse to let her define me or ruin what's left of my life. I've started seeing a therapist, trying to untangle the mess inside my head, and honestly, that's helped a lot. I don't think I'll ever fully trust anyone the way I trusted her, but I know I'll get there someday. Part of me feels a weird sense of relief that I finally saw her for what she is, someone who used me, lied to me, and played games behind my back. I never deserved that. No one does. It's painful, sure. I don't think I'll ever forget the betrayal. But I also realize I'm stronger than I thought. I've got a lot of support from friends and family who remind me I'm not alone and that I deserve better. So, here's what I want to tell anyone who might be going through something similar. Trust your gut. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Don't let yourself get blinded by love or hope. Sometimes the signs are right in front of you and you just have to face them. And when you do, don't be afraid to walk away, because surviving betrayal is about reclaiming your life, your dignity, and your peace of mind. Lisa's gone now, and honestly, I don't miss her. What I miss is the idea of what I thought we had, but I know I'll find happiness again, maybe not with her, but on my own terms. I've learned that betrayal doesn't define me, and I won't let it break me. I'm still here, stronger, wiser, and ready to move forward.